Hi, everybody, and welcome to this update video. I am Josh Peck. I hope you are all doing well today. Did you know that there are examples of a strange form of time travel in the Bible? And it's not what we typically think of when it comes to time travel. No one in the Bible jumps into a high-tech machine and travels to the past or the future. However, it seems that God himself has initiated a type of time travel for his prophets in the past. And this also has a bit to do with the rapture and the two witnesses. So we have a lot of exciting things to talk about in our update video today. We will be asking the question, was Elijah's rapture actually time travel? So this will be about biblical time travel and the two witnesses. Also, I want to say right at the beginning, if you would like a recommendation of a book that's about a lot of this kind of stuff, Time Travelers of the Bible by Gary Stearman. Check it out. You can go to prophecywatchers.com to find that. Okay, so we're going to talk about specific accounts of Moses, Elijah, and Jesus. So let's first begin with Moses. Exodus 34:28 through 35 says, "So he was there with the Lord 40 days and 40 nights. He neither ate bread nor drank water, and he wrote on the tablets the words of the covenant, the 10 commandments. Now it was so, when Moses came down from Mount Sinai, and the two tablets of the testimony were in Moses' hands when he came down from the mountain, that Moses did not know that the skin of his face shone while he talked with him. So when Aaron and all the children of Israel saw Moses, behold, the skin of his face shone, and they were afraid to come near him. Then Moses called to them, and Aaron and all the rulers of the congregation returned to him, and Moses talked with them. Afterward, all the children of Israel came near, and he gave them as commandments all that the Lord had spoken with him on Mount Sinai. And when Moses had finished speaking with him, he put a veil on his face. And whenever Moses went in before the Lord to speak with him, he would take the veil off until he came out, and he would come out and speak to the children of Israel, whatever he had been commanded. And whenever the children of Israel saw the face of Moses, that the skin of Moses' face shone, then Moses would put the veil on his face again until he went in to speak with him." Okay, so pay special attention to the fact that Moses was on a mountain with the Lord for 40 days and nights while he fasted, and when he was done, his face shone. Now, many scholars believe this event occurred sometime around 1400 BC. Now, let's look at a similar account, but this time of Elijah. So 1 Kings 19:5 through 13a says, "Then he lay and slept under a broom tree. Suddenly an angel touched him and said to him, 'Arise and eat.' Then he looked, and there by his head was a cake baked on coals and a jar of water. So he ate and drank and lay down again. And the angel of the Lord came back the second time and touched him and said, 'Arise and eat, because the journey is too great for you.' So he arose and ate and drank, and he went in the strength of that food 40 days and 40 nights as far as Horeb, the mountain of God. And there he went into a cave and spent the night in that place. And behold, the word of the Lord came to him, and he said to him, 'What are you doing here, Elijah?' So he said, 'I have been very zealous for the Lord God of hosts, for the children of Israel have forsaken your covenant, torn down your altars, and killed your prophets with the sword. I alone am left, and they seek to take my life.' Then he said, 'Go out and stand on the mountain before the Lord.' And behold, the Lord passed by, and a great and strong wind tore into the mountains and broke the rocks in pieces before the Lord. But the Lord was not in the wind. And after the wind, an earthquake, but the Lord was not in the earthquake. And after the earthquake, a fire, but the Lord was not in the fire. And after the fire, a still small voice. So it was, when Elijah heard it, that he wrapped his face in his mantle and went out and stood in the entrance of the cave." Okay, now in this account, we see some similarities to Moses. First, we have a 40-day and night fast, as evidenced by the phrase, "He went in the strength of that food 40 days and 40 nights as far as Horeb, the mountain of God." And that phrase also gives us our second similarity, a meeting with the Lord on a mountain. Third, when Elijah heard the still small voice of the Lord, he wrapped his face with his mantle. Now, why might this be? It doesn't say specifically, but could it be that a similar event happened with Elijah that happened with Moses? Could it be that Elijah's face was shining as well? It's at least a possibility, but we have two references. Moses had to cover his face, and we see an instance here where Elijah covered his face as well. So it's at least a possibility that face shining effect happened with Elijah as well. Can't say for sure, but maybe. Also, I should note that most scholars believe that this event would have occurred around 900 BC, so about 500 years after Moses. So now that we have a fair grasp on these two accounts, let's look at one of Jesus. Let's look at one of Jesus's accounts and see if we can tie all these together. Now, we know from Matthew chapter 4 that Jesus had his 40-day and night fast as well, very similar to Moses and Elijah. But let's skip ahead to Matthew 17, 1 through 8, which says, "Now after 6 days, Jesus took Peter, James, and John, his brother, led them up on a high mountain by themselves, and he was transfigured before them. His face shone like the sun, and his clothes became as white as the light. And behold, Moses and Elijah appeared to them, talking with him. Then Peter answered and said to Jesus, 'Lord, it is good for us to be here. If you wish, let us make here 3 tabernacles, one for you, one for Moses, and one for Elijah.' While he was still speaking, behold, a bright cloud overshadowed them, and suddenly a voice came out of the cloud, saying, 'This is my beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased. Hear him.' And when the disciples heard it, they fell on their faces and were greatly afraid. But Jesus came and touched them and said, 'Arise and do not be afraid.' When they had lifted up their eyes and saw no one but Jesus only." So we have a couple possibilities to explain this. Some have put forth the idea that this event occurred after Moses died and Elijah was taken up in the whirlwind, which would make Moses dead and Elijah translated or raptured in a sense. And this would be Elijah in his glorified body and Moses as a spirit from Abraham's bosom. Now, it doesn't say exactly that Moses and Elijah were in spirit or glorified bodies. It doesn't really say one way or another. Now, it does say, if we read it from Luke, and this is Luke 9:28 and on, that says, "Now it came to pass about 8 days after these sayings that he took Peter, John, and James and went up to the mountain to pray. And he prayed, and the appearance of his face was altered, and his robe became white and glistening. And behold, 2 men talked with him, who were Moses and Elijah, who appeared in glory and spoke of his decease, which he was about to accomplish at Jerusalem." And then later on, it mentions the glory again. In 32, "But Peter and those who were with him were heavy with sleep, and when they were fully awake, they saw his glory and the 2 men who stood with him." So some people say, well, if they appeared in glory, they were probably in their glorified bodies. But in the next verse, it says that Peter saw his glory, meaning the glory of Jesus, and the 2 men who stood with him. So it's probable that when it says these 2 men, Moses and Elijah, who appeared in glory, they're talking about the glory of Jesus, not necessarily that they had their own glorified bodies. So in light of that, and because it doesn't really say one way or another, this, if was Moses a spirit and was Elijah translated at this point, it doesn't say one way or another. So this actually opens up a really exciting possibility. Now, remember, it says that Jesus's face shone like the sun, which is very similar to Moses and possibly Elijah as well, though it doesn't explicitly say it. But from the perspective of Jesus and the apostles, this would have been happening in real time. But what if, from Moses's perspective, from the earlier account, this exact event occurred for him while he was on the mountain with the Lord, the exact event that occurred right before his face began to shine? Similarly, 500 years later, and from Elijah's perspective, what if this transfiguration event occurred when he also was on the mountain and with the Lord before he wrapped his face in his mantle? That would mean that Jesus supernaturally broke the bonds of time and allowed the 3 of them to be together in one time and space, despite the fact that they were all hundreds of years apart. I mean, isn't that amazing? If true, this also opens the possibility for Elijah to be one of the two witnesses. And I know that I've done videos where I've said that the two witnesses are probably two new people, but there's actually a possibility here that I want to look at, because really it depends on how we understand one word, if it opens this possibility up or not. So let's look at it. And of course, for if there's anybody brand new, the two witnesses are two individuals that are talked about in Revelation that have these amazing skills of God that they can't be attacked, and they can breathe fire from their mouths, but eventually the Antichrist kills them. And it's a big mystery who are the two witnesses, because it doesn't explicitly say in Scripture. So a lot of people believe it's Elijah and Moses or Elijah and Enoch. So let's talk about that. So 2 Kings 2, verses 1 and verse 11. Verses 1 and 11. So we're not going to read the whole passage, just those two verses. So verse 1 says, "And it came to pass when the Lord was about to take up Elijah into heaven by a whirlwind, that Elijah went with Elisha," that was his servant, his friend, "from Gilgal. Then it happened as they continued on and talked, that suddenly," and we're in verse 11 now, "suddenly a chariot of fire appeared with horses of fire and separated the two of them, and Elijah went up by a whirlwind into heaven." Okay, so really that word heaven here in the original language can either mean heaven as in the abode of God, or it could just mean the sky. Now, obviously, since flesh and blood cannot inherit the kingdom of God, if Elijah was taken up to the abode of God, he would have had to be translated or raptured in a sense, meaning he would have had been given a glorified body. He would have been changed. However, if it is heaven, as in just the sky, what if the chariots and whirlwind literally transported Elijah forward in time so that he could be one of the two witnesses we read about in Revelation? And so if that's the case, his death in Revelation makes sense, because he never, in that scenario, he never died. So who is the other witness then, if that were true? Well, personally, I believe Moses is disqualified, because Deuteronomy 34:5 says Moses died in Moab. So could God resurrect Moses to have him be killed again as one of the two witnesses? Sure, anything is possible. Jesus has certainly resurrected people before. Lazarus, I'm sure Lazarus died again after his resurrection. So anything's possible, but we don't have a clear indication that God does that in this situation. It just doesn't say explicitly. But yes, it is possible. But what about Enoch? Well, again, we kind of have a lack of information. All we know from Genesis is that Enoch walked with the Lord and then was not, because God took him. Now, Hebrews 11:5 gives us some more information, and that says, "By faith Enoch was taken away so that he did not see death, and was not found, because God had taken him. For before he was taken, he had this testimony, that he pleased God." Now, that word translated in the original language means to be changed or transformed, which really sounds like a rapture event. We know that at the rapture, we too are changed from corruptible to incorruptible. We were given glorified bodies. So if this is what happened to Enoch, then Enoch is in a glorified body now and would never see death or be able to be killed. So that would mean, if that interpretation is correct, that Enoch would be disqualified as being one of the two witnesses as well. And I say if that interpretation is correct. So who would the other witness be? And again, we're looking at the possibility that Elijah, if heaven just means sky, that Elijah was transported to the future to be one of the two witnesses, and that's when his death will happen. So who would the other one be? Well, from what I understand, we have a couple possibilities. Either both witnesses are just two new regular people that are born and live in the future during that time, and they're bestowed with amazing gifts from God and are killed by the Antichrist, or one witness is Elijah, taken from the past and put into the future, and the second is a new person that exists normally in that future time. Or, I guess there is a third possibility that God could resurrect Moses or resurrect somebody else and have that be one of the other witnesses. But however things end up shaking out, we can be assured that this future time that we read about in Revelation And the time of our rapture prior to that is quickly approaching. We certainly serve a powerful and amazing God who has made incredible promises to those who accept his son, Jesus Christ, as their Savior. If you haven't yet, give your life to Jesus, trust in him, and get to take part in the blessed hope with the rest of us. So that's what I would ask you to do if you haven't already. Now, that's the end of the teaching, the update. But I do have a couple of announcements that I want to make before we conclude for this video. First, if anybody hasn't heard yet, all of these videos that I do can be found at dailyrenegade.com, but you get the full version of everything. So I host a show called The Sharpening Report, and in that show, we talk about some things that sometimes YouTube wants to delete. They've deleted our videos, our channels before. So we have to have a place where we can store the full video for people who want to watch it, where we don't have to worry about censorship. So usually on The Sharpening Report, I'll do the first half of the episode for YouTube, and then the entire episode is available at dailyrenegade.com. Also, with dailyrenegade.com, you get episodes a couple weeks in advance, so you get early releases. Like the episode that's going to air on YouTube March 6th is available right now, and we got a lot of really cool upcoming events and by the way, videos. And by the way, before I talk about that, we do have a brand new website, and it's absolutely beautiful. It works seamlessly. It's really easy. Everybody so far absolutely loves it. And it's really simple, easy to use. We are raising money to be able to provide you guys with a phone app and a TV app for Daily Renegade. And it would look just like the website does. Really easy. It's similar to like Netflix, that kind of style, that kind of layout. Really easy to find and use. And people are absolutely loving it. So, brand new website. If you were a member of the old website and you saw that you had a cancellation, the reason that is because we didn't want both websites charging you. So Uscreen sent out an email to everybody explaining new login instructions. And then I sent an email explaining why your subscription was canceled. It was canceled only on the old website. It's active on the new website, but that email will have login instructions. And if you can't find it, check your spam folder, check all your folders for Uscreen. And if you still can't find it, just email me, joshpeckdisclosure@gmail.com. And I'll have them send you a new one. But all of your subscriptions are intact. And also at the beginning of your next payment cycle, whenever that is, whether you're monthly or yearly, you'll have to input your payment information again. And that's just because Wix wasn't going to share your payment information with Uscreen. And it's a safety thing, and I understand why that is. But that's it. And then if you're a brand new member, if you haven't gotten a membership yet, it's just really easy. Just head on over to dailyrenegade.com and get a membership. It's only $10 a month or $100 a year, and I highly suggest getting the $100 a year if you can do it, because it's really cheaper in the long run. Essentially, you get 2 months for free. If you're paying monthly, you're going to pay $120 a year. But the new website's amazing. It also has a community tab where we can all talk to each other. You can post. It works just like Facebook. You can post pictures, memes, you can comment, you can like stuff, you can set up your own profile. It's really nice. So that's right in the website as well. And a lot of people have been taking advantage of that, because what I've wanted to do with Daily Renegade for years is create a place where we can all fellowship together, where we don't have to worry about being censored. And it's really hard to do that on Facebook because we keep getting censored and shadow banned. I mean, I have I've reached my limit years ago of 5,000 friends on Facebook. And most people don't see my posts ever. And it's shadow banning. So it's really, really difficult. But at dailyrenegade.com, there is no censorship. There is no shadow banning. And if anybody were, the subscription is for a couple of reasons. For one thing, it's to cover our overhead, but also it's to help weed out trolls. I have not yet had a single troll on there. Be rest assured, if a troll comes in and starts harassing you guys, just let me know. I will refund their money and kick them out. But I don't think that's likely to happen because trolls typically aren't going to spend their own money to troll people. Trolls are kind of pathetic. They're going to use free services to do that. So it helps protect against that. But then also it helps what we want to do, which is build a phone app and a TV app. And I want to make that available for all platforms. So whatever kind of phone or TV you have, I want to be able to make that available to you guys. So we're raising funds for that. So that's what you're, and also just the continuation of Daily Renegade. That's where your subscription goes. So that's why we have to do the subscription method. We tried having it just for free for everybody on YouTube. Doesn't work. Our videos get deleted, and then people can't get the information. So just it's unfortunate. That's the way the world works. So all of that, dailyrenegade.com. And if you're still not convinced, let me tell you about some of our upcoming episodes that if you're only going to view it on YouTube, you're only going to get half of the video and you got to wait a long time. Whereas if you get a membership now, you have access to all of these videos right now. So what we have coming up tomorrow, or actually, this is later tonight. What we have coming up tonight, and this is Wednesday, February 21st. So if you're watching this when it airs today, this is what we have coming up tonight. It is Prophecies of the Essenes, Jesus 2025, and the End of Days. So this is about the Dead Sea Scroll prophecies, and it's a very exciting video. I'm really, really excited to share this with you. It goes into just all of the not every single one because that would take forever, but some of the main Dead Sea Scroll Essene prophecies, how they were fulfilled to show how accurate of prophets they were, and then also some future stuff about what they say about our time, because it stands to reason if they were right about all this other stuff, they're probably going to be right about what they have to say about our time as well. And then so that's premiering tonight. Next week, February 28th, we have SRA Trafficking is More Real and Terrifying Than You Think. That is available now. And that gets into just it's actually a lot of stuff I can't say on YouTube. So you're just going to have to look at the title, and just kind of make sense of it on your own. I wish I could say really what this video is about on YouTube, but if I do, YouTube will delete this video. So, but you'll know what it is when you just look at it. But that's available at dailyrenegade.com as well right now. And then on March 6th, this is something that I recorded yesterday. So it's available now, but it's Prophetic End of Our Empire Through the Path of Rome with special guest Terry Saka. Very important episode. It shows the state of where we're at right now in our country, and prophetically just what's about to happen. And also, like, you're not going to believe what's actually happening this March and June in terms of the economy. It's a really, really big deal, and it's something that will likely affect all of us. And so we all need to know about that. So that one, that is available right now at dailyrenegade.com. And I will say, just to be completely candid, I did end up putting that full video on YouTube for March 6th. So I didn't split that one in half. So if you wait till March 6th, you will get to see the whole video. But again, I mean, why wait when you can just get it right now? So we have that coming up, and then a lot of stuff. I do these update videos from time to time. So also, for many of you probably have already heard this, but just in case there are any that haven't, I'm moving to Oklahoma in probably a couple of weeks, 2 or 3 weeks, because I've accepted a job at Prophecy Watchers. Please keep me and my family in prayer, because we've been kind of having a difficult time finding a rental house, and there's one that we really like. Part of the problem is we have a big family. We have 5 kids and 3 cats. So So part of the problem is that we just have such a big family. It's hard to find a rental in our price range that can accommodate all of our needs. But we did find one that we really like. And but the second part of the problem is we've been having some trouble with the rental company. We've been trying to get our information verified, and we've had to go back and forth, and it's kind of been hectic. So whether we can get this house or not, I mean, the house is pretty much perfect for us. And it's pretty close to Prophecy Watchers too, which is something that we really like. So we're really praying that this is the place that God has for us. But with us being kind of stuck in limbo, with this approval to be able to move in, we don't know if somebody's gonna come and get it before we do. So keep us in prayer over that. I'm a little worried about it because if that doesn't work out, we have to start the process over again. And we've already been in the process for a couple of weeks. Well, the entire process, we've been in it for about a month, but the actual rental process, once we found the house, it's been about a couple of weeks, and time's getting really short. We only have a couple of weeks to get all this stuff handled. So please keep us in prayer for that. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little worried, but I'm just giving it all to God, and so I just ask that you keep us in prayer over that. But I'm very excited for that move. I'm excited to go start working at Prophecy Watchers. So of course, we're raising money for that. Obviously, that's why I've been doing more update videos to tell you guys about Daily Renegade. And also there is a donation button too at dailyrenegade.com. And you don't have to be a member to actually see the website. You can see the website, you just won't be able to play the videos and stuff. But on the homepage at the bottom, there's a link for donations, and that can be for anything. But something that we're also trying to raise money for is my son's healthcare. So my son Nathan, he's 10 years old now. When he was 5, he was diagnosed with T-cell leukemia. Many of you know this. He's in remission now, so he's cancer-free, but the chemo ravaged his body, and he has a lot of problems because of that. And we are using an all-natural route for healing for him because it's just so much better for this specific type of thing. But none of that's covered by insurance, and the supplements he needs, the foods he needs, I mean, it's all got to be like clean, organic, like it's got to be really specialized things that are incredibly expensive, like drain your bank account kind of expensive. So if people want to donate to help Nathan out, that would be greatly appreciated, because again, none of this stuff is covered by insurance. And also on the website, I do have a link, and this stuff can be found in the description below too. I have that donation link, and also a link to Cornerstone Asset Metals. And if you're like me, the second that you hear gold or silver, you're like, it's a scam. I don't even want to hear it. I'm like that too. Believe me, I am. This is the only company that I trust because they're all Christians. They're all brothers and sisters in Christ, and it's not just a name only. Like Terry Saka that I have coming on, he runs Cornerstone. And he knows about prophecy and Nephilim and all the stuff that we talk about. He's a great guy. And but so they're not just Christians in name only. They are absolutely on fire for the Lord, and they run it like a ministry. They're not going to they don't rip you off. I mean, you can basically get twice as much silver for the same price if you go through Cornerstone. But the reason that that's so important is that silver holds its value over time. So while we're dealing with inflation and the US dollar losing its value, it takes a lot more money to buy stuff. That doesn't happen as much with silver, really. Like silver maintains its value over time. And actually, I've talked about this a lot, so I don't want to go on too much about it, but especially if you have like a retirement, or if you have a 401k or anything like that, that can lose its value. And a much better investment is to invest it in silver if you can find a reputable company. I don't suggest just people going and doing it with anybody. A lot of them are scammers. I mean, even the ones that say they're Christian, a lot of them are scammers. But I have highly vetted Cornerstone. I've invested with them. They're not scammers. So I highly trust them. And if you want to protect your assets, if you want to protect what you plan on leaving for your kids and grandkids, or even just for yourself for retirement or whatever, I highly suggest going through cornerstoneassetmetals.com. The link and the number is in the description, and you can just get a free consultation. Like, you can just call them and ask questions. They're not going to be pushy with you. They're not going to be like salesmen with you or anything like that. They're just going to give you information, teach you how it works, and it's totally fine if you are completely new to this. I certainly was when I started. They're not going to talk down to you or anything. But they will explain things in a way that makes sense. So if that's of interest, again, cornerstoneassetmetals.com. It's in the link in description below, link and number. And when you sign up, tell them that Josh Peck at Daily Renegade sent you. That helps us out too. Okay, so all of that being said, I think that's all the updates. That's definitely the teaching. I think that is probably the end of the video. Yeah, we've gone about a half an hour. That's I think that's a good update video time. Okay, if you got any suggestions or questions, suggestions for future shows, questions that you'd like answered, email me, joshpeckdisclosure@gmail.com. That would be great. And again, head on over to dailyrenegade.com and get a subscription. And my email again, joshpeckdisclosure@gmail.com. I do not have a Daily Renegade email address. So, okay, love y'all. Thank you so much. And until next time, well, if you're viewing this today, I will see you tonight. I'll try to get in the chat for the YouTube premiere of tonight's video on the Essene prophecies, and we can chat together there if YouTube allows the video to stay up. All right, everybody, love y'all. Take care and God bless.